What's going on, guys? So, here we are. We received our shunt from Amazon. It is that 40 some dollar one that everyone is purchasing instead of the $200 Victron. Not that Victron isn't the best, and I'm sure this does a whole lot less than that. It doesn't have the Bluetooth connection to your phone and everything, but seems to be doing everything it's supposed to do. Not sure how you pronounce it, whether it's Ali or Ali, but easy enough to find on Amazon. A lot of reviews about it on Facebook. People picking it up. So this is it. Has the shunt that comes with it. Comes with a good amount of cord. Maybe 6 foot of extension adapter from that connector to the controller, which has a maybe 16-18 inch long insulated pigtail on it. So it's actually pretty nice. The shunt is way heavier than I thought it was going to be. I have it hooked up to a 31 amp hour gel battery right now. And if you look at the controls, you can see that it has the arrow pointing up, plus sign. It gives you the battery voltage, and that is the voltage because we are currently on the charger. We're on the G1100 1.1 amp charger, and I have the ground to the shunt, so everything runs through the shunt. Everything hooked how it's supposed to be. The positive on that, everything ground goes in through the shunt. All the positives go to the battery. It was so simple to hook up. So it gives you the voltage, and when it's charging, it is pulsating. I know it's hard to see the color. It's coming up blue on the screen, on my screen anyway, but it is more like a emerald green display, which is pretty cool. I like that. So it gives you the amps, and it also gives you the amp hours, what you set in the beginning, and as you drain your battery, the amp hours decrease. And it gives us a battery status. When you get your battery charged 100% before you hook this up, and then you let it know, hey, this is how many amp hour battery I have, and it is 100% charged. And that's how it determines state of charge and amp hours and everything, and figures everything out. But so we're going to take the charger off of it now, and you'll see the plus sign disappear from there. Change the voltage. I'm going to take the charger off. The plus sign will disappear because it won't have power coming into it. Okay, that's gone. Now, what I do have is I have a couple other things set up. I set up a USB. I don't have it currently connected to the positive side yet, but plugged into that, I have my Goal Zero Light of Life daisy chain, and they have a medium and a high. They're LED. Pretty cool lights. I mean, camping lights, they all have carabiners. Good amount of cord on each one, maybe 3 or 4 foot of cord between them, so you could string them out. I also have my USB LED night light. So we can plug these in and see the amp draw on them, if the decrease in amp hours, the battery drain, the voltage, everything. I also have my Cobalt air pump hooked up, so we can see, again, the status of it through the battery monitor. And I want to plug in this solar charger, which, you could see, works off light, any kind of light. So the closer I move it to the light, the more charge, but that charges per USB also. So let's hook a couple things up and see, what actually happens here. All right, let's get this USB plugged in so it lights up for us, and then I'll pick you back up. Okay, so we plugged in the positive terminal on the back, so now we're lit up. So we have our voltage. Let's switch it over to amps. Let's see. Okay, there's the amp draw. And even though the only thing that's on is the light, I'm assuming the monitor itself draws a little bit of power from the battery. So, you know, we're always going to be pulling something. It looks like we're, you know, fluctuating. I know, you know, I mean, there is a decimal point behind the first 0. Don't know if you could pick that up or not. Okay, so let's power a couple things up. The first thing we'll power up is the Onite. I want to say it is a 15 watt LED bulb with a good amount of cord, like 10 foot of cord. It has its own power switch. So let's hit that. Bang, that's on. Okay, we have that powered up. Pretty bright bulb. Okay, and that is saying, that is what we are pulling on the amps. Okay, and you can see the arrow is pointing down with a minus because we're taking charge out of the battery. You know, it does have an indicator, which I think is pretty cool. So voltage, 1311. But, you know, we just had this battery on the charger, so it hasn't rested, you know, to get to a resting voltage. And amp hours, that's our amp hours, and available amp hours. It's a 31 amp hour battery. We just took it off, plugged it in. You know, we've dropped not even, I wouldn't say 1%. So, you know, we have 30.99 instead of 31 amp hours. And over here to the battery percentage, we're running 100%. And the arrow constantly stays there. When this thing goes into sleep mode, when you haven't touched it, the light will go out. And the only button that wakes it up to illuminate it is the middle button, the amp, and the amp hour button. So we're back to amps. Let's turn this off, see if that drops. Turn the Onite off. Okay, we see that drop right down. Okay, now let's turn our Light-A-Lifes on one at a time. So like I said, they have a medium and they have a bright mode, and they're fairly decent. So one of them, that is on medium, that is on high. Turn the other one on medium. Kick it to high. The next one, turn on medium. Kick it to high. And the last one, we'll hit medium. And now we'll turn it to high. Okay, so that's what they pull as far as amps. And amp hours, how we doing? We're still there. And voltage, that's where we are with the voltage. Okay, so let's shut all these down. Let's run them all to medium now and see what this thing pulls for everything being on medium on the amps. So this is what we drop down to. That's all the Light-A-Lifes from Goal Zero, the USB daisy chain set. That's all 4 lights on medium. So that's pretty cool. Now let's shut them down. Okay, we've shut 2 down. We only have 2 running. That's 3 shut down. And we'll shut the last one down. Okay, see, it went into sleep mode. I mean, it's still active, doing what it's supposed to do, but the light goes out, and if you push any, the volt button doesn't seem to bring the wake up mode on, and the percentage button does. So the amp hour button and the battery percentage buttons bring it back online. Doesn't push the volt button, the first one, didn't seem to bring it back online. Maybe I didn't wait long enough. Let me try it again. Nope. See, it's not even letting me switch it to volts because I guess it went into sleep mode. So let me hit the middle button, wake it back up, and then it will let me go into volts mode. So you do have to hit this middle button to be able to toggle between and wake it back up. So that's pretty cool. What do we want to do now? Okay, we want to leave it on volts. We're at 13 right now. Now you're going to hear the big buzz because I'm going to fire up this Cobalt air pump I have wired in. I'm sure the voltage is going to drop something crazy here. So let's fire this up. All right, we're running. Let's change to the amps. Get what's it pulling? steady. There it is. So, you know, we're losing amp hours because we're pulling 4 amps. Let's go to the battery monitor. We were at 100%. Let's see how fast that drops. I know it's a little loud. Hopefully you can hear me. We do still have the USB powered up. Nothing's draining other than the light from the USB. Holding pretty good. Let's go to our battery voltage. 12.45. Now we'll shut that off and see if our voltage is going to come back up. Okay. Yeah, it came right back up. Let's see what we settle at. So yeah, this shunt actually, this battery monitor, the shunt, I mean, it seems to be working pretty nice. I mean, for 40 bucks, that's a great way to monitor your battery other than just using, you know, your voltmeter, your voltage meter that you have wired in, like I do on, you know, the box here. I mean, you can use your solar controller, no doubt, but, you know, I guess this is the right way to really do it. I mean, seems like my solar controller, even, you know, whether it be my Rover Elite or my my little, you know, Voyager PWM or my 40 amp Elite, my 20 or 40, this only shows me my amps in. It doesn't show me, you know, how many amps I'm taking out. So this is great for that. So yeah, I have to tell you, you know, this is well worth the 40 bucks to give you plenty of cable. I mean, if you're hooking it up in an RV, depending where your battery bank is, you know, you could definitely wish for more cord. You know, it gives you 6 foot and maybe the 18 inches off the back of the, you know, the display with the pigtail that, you know, you plug into the 6 foot cable they give you that plugs into the shunt itself. But, you know, I don't know if, you know, a go-between extension cable is available for that or anything like that. So, you know, our voltage did come back up after we ran the pump. Let's wake it back up, get our light on, and, you know, 99.7% of our battery available. Our available amp hours are 30.89 from the 31. But, you know, we did pull a little bit of voltage out of the battery with that almost 4.5 amp draw from that pump. But yeah, so I have to tell you, for 40 bucks, I'm pretty impressed. I think it's to the point where I'm going to go ahead and install this. Now the big question is do I install it in, you know, our DIY build here that is running the Battleborn setup, or do we install it in our big solar home emergency power generator, which is running the 200 amp hour Renogy, you know, gel battery system with the new 40 amp Rover Elite controller we put on? Because if you remember, we upgraded to this 20 amp for this portable box that we stole from that box to upgrade that box, and took this 10 amp PWM off of this box. So it was a little bit of a switch around, but, you know, everything's going to be a little more efficient now, you know. So, all right, I guess I'm done that, and I'll turn this back into a table now and not so much a laboratory. Okay, well, so yeah, my opinion, 40 bucks, very cool. Does exactly what I want it to do. I can monitor everything. It shows me charge coming in. And yeah, I didn't know if I said, but when this is on charge, it pulsates. You know, the like indigo green or, you know, emerald green pulsates. And it does give you the arrow up. I've noticed that even if it's on the charger, like, you know, with my G1100, I have 1.1 amps going into it. And it'll give me the up plus sign saying it's charging. But even though the charger's hooked up, if I turn on enough accessories to where I'm exceeding, you know, what is being put into it, it will drop to the negative sign. So, you know, I'm taking out more than I'm putting in, you know, it recognizes that, you know. So that's pretty cool that it's, you know, that sensitive that it can pick up that little bit. And as I shut these down one at a time, the Goal Zero Light of Life, when I get lower than, the amps I'm putting in, the amps coming out versus going in, the plus sign will switch from negative down arrow to up plus arrow. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, well, $40 well spent versus 200 for the Victron, without a lot of the features, I'm sure, but still super cool. See you guys.